Minimalists.
And I think one of the keys, what we're going to be talking about today, is the excess stuff in our lives. So let's talk about what excess means at first, because my excess might be different from your excess, right, Ryan? So for me, my self-imposed definition of excess here is excess is that which does not add value to our lives. And so when we talk about what adds value, does it serve a purpose? So if I have a pen that serves a purpose, it's adding value to my life. Yep. Or does it bring me joy? Yeah, we were at your house yesterday recording some living room conversations for YouTube, and you have some artwork on the wall. It may not have a particular function necessarily, but it does serve a different purpose, right? Where it brings you joy, that aesthetic pleasure. And so in a way, you could even argue that it does have a function. It does serve a purpose. It enhances the aesthetics or the beauty of your home. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's what excess is in the terms of today. And I found this video. Actually, it was our friend Mike Adkins sent it over to me very strangely. And I didn't know at the time we were going to be doing an episode about excess, but it is the perfect video to describe, well, this human condition of, I think we're drawn to excess in a way. So let's take a look at this.
Let's check it out.
Whether you drive a Volkswagen or you drive a Bentley, the road remains the same, doesn't it? Whether you speak on a Samsung or you speak on an iPhone X, whoever you're calling remains the same, isn't it? Whether you're flying economy or you're flying business, the destination where you're heading remains the same, isn't it? Whether you're wearing a simple fast track or you wear an Omega or a Rolex, the time remains the same, isn't it? It's quite amazing how we work ourselves up so much with increasing the standard of living that we forget to increase the standard of our life. And which is why wherever I travel, I make an appeal to people. There's nothing wrong with an Omega. There's nothing wrong with a Bentley. God bless you with that, and if you have it, drive it, no problem. But in trying to enhance and increase and improvise the standard of your living, please, do not compromise with the standard of your life. It's not the standard of your living that makes you happy. It's the standard of your life that makes you happy. And very often, we forget to give attention to those things that can truly make us happy. Which is why I always say, things that I'm talking about, they have utility value, right? Not happiness value. Travel business class or first class, is good. Travel, no problem. Drive a Bentley, no problem. But in doing so, never, ever compromise on those principles that also improve the standard of your life. And therefore, I always say, some people are so poor, so absolutely poor that all they have is money. That's all they have. That's all they have. I consider that life a poverty-stricken life. If all you have is money, you're the poorest person in the world. Because there's more to life than money. And there's way more to life than what money can buy. And therefore I many times say, if you want to truly know how rich you are, drop a tear and see how many hands come forth to wipe that tear. Ladies and gentlemen, our happiness and our increased standard of life is not in things, it's in people. It's relationships. It's meaningful, heartfelt, deep bondings of love that bring fulfillment to the heart. It's those meaningful exchanges of love that we share with each other in relationships that brings true joy to the heart. And isn't it the greatest irony that something that brings in the greatest fulfillment, we very conveniently neglect in just running after increasing and enhancing our standard of living.
Wow, man.
Have you
That's good.
have you seen that one before?
I haven't.
And I hadn't either. And a few things that stood out to me where he sort of differentiated with some wordplay there, the standard of living versus the standard of life.
Yeah.
If I were to append that a little bit, I would just say don't sacrifice your standards for a standard of living.
Yeah.
You and I often talk about raising your standards, but lowering the expectations. And right now we have so many expectations. We have these excess expectations, or better yet, we have these expectations of excess.
Yeah.
If I win the lottery, I can get that yacht. I can buy the mansion. And just before this, you revealed to me that if you won the lottery accidentally, I don't know how you would, but maybe you walked by the winning ticket, you picked it up, and all of a sudden you realize, like, I am $1.6 billion richer, your life would not change appreciably from how it changes right now.
Yeah.
You might have a slightly newer car. You might have own
a house.
Yeah, own a house instead of renting one, being able to own a house outright, but not at a considerably different dwelling from what you live in now in terms of square feet or opulence.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not going to go buy a mansion in Beverly Hills with that money.
Mm-hmm.
But as he said in that video, there's nothing inherently wrong with the house or the car or whatever.
Yeah.
It's when we put those things first, when we think that excess is what allows us to succeed.
Yeah.
And in our society, in our culture, the trinkets of success are the things that we use to measure our lives, but they're not a measurement of fulfillment or joy or happiness. They're a measurement of material wealth.
Yeah. But I think he put it great. I mean, what was his name? Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's okay if you don't know his name, but you know what he did is he did a great job of explaining how, hey, look, yeah, it's okay to have the Bentley, drive the Bentley. It's okay to wear Rolex if that's what you want to wear. It's okay to fly first class. The problem is when we forsake did he say our principles?
Yeah, he did say principles, yeah. And what he called the standard of life is really what he was talking about, is having your principles. What you and I would refer to them as values. Now, we would delineate different types of values, and we could talk about those today when we're answering some of these questions. And the thing that really stood out to me is he said that some people are so poor is that all they have is money.
Yeah.
And then if you have all you have is money, then you're the poorest person in the world.
Yeah.
And man, that stuck with me, because we can have excess, and we get to these points where we amass the excess. The average American house has 300,000 items in it. It didn't happen overnight. You didn't go out and buy 300,000 things at Home Depot and Walmart this weekend. It happened over years, decades, several decades sometimes. And so you get to that point where you're like my mom. When she passed, she was 65 years old, and she had 65 years worth of accumulations in a tiny one-bedroom apartment. And she wasn't a hoarder. She just held on to things. She had excess. She had 14 winter coats in her closet, and she lived in Florida. She had these things that she wasn't using. It didn't make her a bad person. It didn't even make her wrong. It just meant that like most of us, and I think this is the human condition, when we don't stop ourselves, we don't stop back, we always want the new thing, and it drives forward innovation. Yeah. It's the reason we have all these we have these cool microphones, and we have we have these sound panels. I have a iPhone in my pocket, and it's because we crave innovation, and we go for more. That becomes a problem when it's unchecked. When we don't start thinking about, why do I need this new thing?
Yeah.
I know you have an older version of the iPhone, Ryan.
Yeah, it's a few versions old.
Yeah, and for you right now, there isn't a good reason for you to upgrade to a new one. Now, for me, in my current situation, I upgraded last year. Whenever the 10 counts, so the version before the one that's the three newest ones now, the XS, whatever.
The first version of the 10.
Yeah, the 10-1, X1, 1X.
I'm so confused right now.
Yeah, I don't know. But for me, there are a couple things on there that have really aided my relationships personally. and I say relationships, my relationship with my partner Bex, which I could be fine with an old flip phone with her, but with Ella, like I was on FaceTime with her last night, and it has the an emoji feature, and she was having a meltdown before I called her, and she's in a different city right now, and when I called her, I was able to put the dragon an emoji on, and so I was a dragon as I talked to her.
Oh wow!
And it was extremely valuable, like to have her laughing by the end of the conversation because she was having a bad day yesterday. And so sometimes these things can aid our life. And so you and I aren't going to say, hey, get rid of all of your things. Everything is excess. The question is, does it actually bring any sort of value to your life?
Yeah.